Stop right there. If you're driving in the UK, what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes could save you from hefty fines, penalty points, or even losing your license. October 2026 is bringing 4 massive driving law changes that will affect every single driver on British roads, and most people have absolutely no idea what's coming. Don't click away, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do to stay legal and avoid potentially devastating consequences. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to UK State Pension with David. I'm David, and I'm absolutely delighted to have you here on the channel today. Whether you're a new viewer or you've been with us for a while, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Today we're talking about something that affects millions of drivers across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, and it's absolutely crucial that you stay with me until the very end because these changes are coming fast and you need to be prepared. Before we dive into these 4 major law changes, I want to ask you for a small favor. If you find this information valuable, please hit that like button just below this video. It really helps us reach more people who need to know about these important changes. And if you haven't already subscribed to UK State Pension with David, please do so now and turn on that notification bell so you never miss any of our updates about pensions, benefits, and important news affecting people across the United Kingdom. Now let me paint you a picture. You're driving along, minding your own business, doing what you've done for years, maybe even decades. You think you know all the rules of the road. You passed your test, you're a careful driver, you've never had any major problems. But suddenly, without realizing it, you're breaking brand new laws that came into effect in October 2026. Before you know it, you've got a fine landing on your doormat, penalty points on your license, or worse, you're facing a court summons. This isn't some far-fetched scenario. This is what could happen to thousands of unprepared drivers across the UK this autumn. The government has announced 4 significant changes to driving laws that will come into force this October, and these aren't minor tweaks. These are substantial alterations that will change how we drive, how we maintain our vehicles, and how we interact with other road users. Some of these changes have been brewing for years. Others might come as a complete surprise, but all of them demand your attention right now. Let's start with the first major change that's causing quite a stir among motoring organizations and drivers alike. From October 2026, there will be new, stricter regulations regarding mobile phone use while driving. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, David, isn't using a mobile phone while driving already illegal? Yes, absolutely, and it has been for years. But the new legislation is closing loopholes and extending the definition of what constitutes illegal use. Under the current law, you can be prosecuted for using a handheld mobile phone while driving, but there have been gray areas. Some people have argued they were using their phone as a sat-nav, or they were taking a photo at traffic lights, or they were checking the time. The new regulations make it crystal clear. Any interaction with a handheld device while you're in the driver's seat with the engine running is illegal. Full stop. This includes being stationary in traffic, sitting at red lights, or even pulled over on the side of the road with the engine on. The penalties are serious. You're looking at 6 penalty points on your license and a £200 fine as a standard penalty. But if you've passed your test within the last 2 years, those 6 points mean an automatic license revocation. You'll have to take your theory and practical tests all over again. For experienced drivers, if you accumulate 12 points, you face a driving ban. This new enforcement means the days of quickly checking your phone at traffic lights are well and truly over. The second major change coming in October 2026 relates to vehicle emissions and the expansion of clean air zones. This is a big one, especially if you drive an older vehicle. Several major cities across the UK are introducing or expanding their clean air zones, and the charges and restrictions are becoming more stringent. London's ultra-low emission zone has been the template, but now Birmingham, Manchester, Bristol, Newcastle, and several other cities are implementing similar schemes with stricter criteria. If your vehicle doesn't meet the required emission standards, you'll face daily charges every time you drive into these zones. For most cars, that means meeting Euro 6 standards for diesel vehicles, or Euro 4 for petrol vehicles. If your vehicle doesn't meet these standards, you could be paying anywhere from £12.50 to £100 per day, depending on the city and the type of vehicle you're driving. What makes this particularly important is that automatic number plate recognition cameras will enforce these zones. You can't just forget to pay and hope for the best. The cameras will catch your vehicle and you'll receive a penalty charge notice in the post. If you don't pay within the specified time frame, the fine increases dramatically. Some drivers who regularly commute into these zones could be facing thousands of pounds in annual charges if their vehicle isn't compliant. The third significant change involves new requirements for electric vehicle charging infrastructure in residential properties. Now, this might not affect everyone immediately, but it's part of the government's broader push towards electric vehicles as we move closer to the 2030 ban on new petrol and diesel car sales. From October 2026, any new residential property development or major renovation must include electric vehicle charging points. This is being written into building regulations. But here's where it affects existing homeowners and tenants. If you own your property and want to install a charging point, the new regulations will actually make this easier by preventing management companies and local authorities from unreasonably blocking installations. However, there will also be new technical standards that these installations must meet, which could affect the cost and complexity of getting a charger fitted. For drivers, this means if you're considering switching to an electric vehicle, October 2026 marks a turning point where the infrastructure requirements become standardized. You'll need to factor in these installation requirements and costs when making the switch. The government is offering grants for home charger installations, but these are being phased down, so timing your switch becomes crucial. The fourth and perhaps most controversial change relates to new graduated driving licenses for young and newly qualified drivers. This has been under discussion for several years, and it's finally being implemented from October 2026. The new system will impose restrictions on drivers for 12 months after they pass their test. These restrictions include a nighttime driving curfew between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. unless accompanied by a driver over 25 who has held their license for at least 3 years. There will also be restrictions on the number of passengers under 25 that a new driver can carry, limited to 1 passenger for the first 6 months, then 2 passengers for the following 6 months. Additionally, there will be zero tolerance for alcohol, meaning new drivers must have 0 blood alcohol content compared to the current legal limit for experienced drivers. The rationale behind this change is road safety statistics. Young and newly qualified drivers are disproportionately represented in serious and fatal accidents, particularly late at night and when carrying multiple passengers of a similar age. The government argues these restrictions will save lives. Critics argue it's too restrictive and will impact young people's employment and social opportunities. Regardless of where you stand on the debate, if you're a new driver or you have children or grandchildren who are learning to drive, these restrictions will significantly impact how and when they can drive independently. Breaking these restrictions won't just result in fines, it could lead to license revocation and having to start the entire testing process again. Now, you might be wondering what you need to do to prepare for these changes. Let me give you some practical steps. First, if you regularly use your mobile phone in the car, even at traffic lights, you need to break that habit now. Invest in a proper hands-free system if you need to make calls. Get a dedicated sat-nav device or a proper phone holder that allows you to set your route before you start driving. Second, if you drive an older vehicle and you regularly travel into major cities, check right now whether your vehicle meets the emission standards for the clean air zones being introduced or expanded in October. If it doesn't, you need to start planning. Can you upgrade your vehicle? Can you alter your routes to avoid these zones? Can you use public transport for city center trips? Don't wait until October to find out you're facing daily charges you can't afford. Third, if you're considering switching to an electric vehicle, now is the time to research your home charging options. Contact approved installers, understand what work needs to be done at your property, and check what grants or financial support might be available. The earlier you start this process, the better positioned you'll be. Fourth, If you're a new driver or about to take your test, make sure you thoroughly understand the new graduated license restrictions. Plan how you'll manage these restrictions in your daily life. If you rely on driving for work, discuss these new rules with your employer. If you're a parent or grandparent of a young driver, have these conversations with them now so everyone knows what to expect. I also want to emphasize the importance of staying informed beyond these 4 changes. The landscape of driving laws in the UK is evolving rapidly as the government responds to environmental concerns, road safety statistics, and technological changes in vehicles. What we're seeing in October 2026 is part of a broader transformation in how we think about driving and vehicle use in this country. Keep an eye on announcements from the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency, and your local council. Sign up for updates if these organizations offer them. Follow reputable motoring organizations like the RAC, the AA, and the Institute of Advanced Motorists. They provide excellent analysis and practical guidance when new laws are introduced. Remember, ignorance of the law is not a defense. When these changes come into force in October, you'll be expected to comply from day one. The police and enforcement agencies won't give you a grace period just because you didn't know about the changes. It's your responsibility as a license holder to stay informed about the laws that govern your driving. So there you have it. The 4 major driving law changes coming this October 2026. Stricter mobile phone regulations with tougher penalties, expanded clean air zones with higher charges for non-compliant vehicles, new requirements for electric vehicle charging infrastructure in homes, and graduated driving licenses with significant restrictions for new drivers. These aren't small adjustments. These are substantial changes that will affect how millions of people across the United Kingdom drive, what vehicles they choose, and how they use our roads. The time to prepare is now, not in September when these changes are just weeks away. I really hope you found this information helpful and that it's given you a clear understanding of what's coming and what you need to do. Knowledge is power, and being prepared means you can adapt to these changes smoothly without the stress of last-minute panic or the financial pain of unexpected fines and penalties. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for sticking with me through all this important information. I know it's a lot to take in, but I wanted to make sure you had all the details you need to make informed decisions. Please share this video with your friends, your family, your colleagues, anyone you know who drives in the UK. This information could save them from costly mistakes. Don't forget to leave a comment below telling me what you think about these changes. Are you prepared? Are you concerned about any of these new laws? Do you think they're fair? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. Your insights and experiences help build our community here on UK State Pension with David. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, this is the perfect time to do so. We cover not just driving laws, but pensions, benefits, financial planning, and all sorts of important topics that affect people living in the United Kingdom. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on crucial information that could affect your life. Thank you once again for watching UK State Pension with David. I'm David, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, drive safely, stay informed, and take care of yourselves. Goodbye for now, and God bless.